Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you'd like to know how I prepare Nigerian beans, please keep on watching. I tried to make this video really thorough and easy to follow, so I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. So I'm starting the night before. I have about 3 cups of beans here. I'm just going to go through them and clean them, looking for any impurities or anything that I don't want to bite into. I think here I find a rock, which I think you guys can see. Yeah, you don't want to bite into that, so you just want to go through and make sure everything is clean. And then I show you, these beans were pretty clean. I didn't find too much impurities, but you'll see a little bit there. And then you just want to go ahead and soak them. I do this overnight, but you can do this a couple hours before, or you can even skip this step. Good morning, guys. My beans have soaked overnight, and I'm just going to give them a quick rinse and put them in this pot with water so that they can boil. And also, this is when a drainer or an asset, I don't know what, I think it's called a drainer. This is when this becomes handy because you can just pour this into here, the water removes, and you can rinse it in the asset. So here I am pouring the beans. Now I'll just add some water to this. As you can see, this is how much water I have in the pot. And I'm just going to turn on the fire, well, stove since it's electric. And we're going to let this boil over. And in the meantime, I'm just going to be prepping the peppers and tomatoes and onions that we're going to use to blend and cook this with. So these are just the ingredients that I'll be using today. I'll slice everything up, so you'll see I use half of the green pepper, the whole of the red pepper, a couple onions, and 2 tomatoes. I might opt for this tin of tomatoes just because I know they'll be ripe. Smoked fish, these are kind of small, so I brought out 2. I'm gonna soak these in hot water because they were in the freezer and it is dry and you want it to like get moist. So we're gonna fill this up with hot water in just a moment. This is a really ripe plantain that I might just add over top to make like Ewa Agoyin. It just makes it really sweet and it's really nice on top. But yeah, you don't have to add this if you don't have it. The recipe will be just fine with everything I'm telling you. Curry thyme, of course, bay leaf, which I'm gonna add to the beans once it's ready. Some paprika. This is crayfish that is always a must that we always add. So yeah, you have your Maggi cube, seasoning cube, Maggi crayfish, which I think is nice, and this is also just like a half of Maggi green pepper and onion that I like to add just because we have it here and it'll add flavor. So here's all the ingredients you'll need. So if you do want to opt for fresh tomatoes, use 3 tomatoes. Also, guys, I just wanted to add that there is 1 Scotch bonnet in here somewhere. Yeah, so you can add 1 Scotch bonnet, and depending on your preference of pepper, you can also add like a teaspoon of athagigun, which is just like dried chili pepper. So now you just want to cut up your bell peppers. I know you guys know how to do this, but I just find it really satisfying chopping everything up. It's kind of like my favorite part of cooking. I don't know, it's just really relaxing to me. Let me know if you guys feel the same. Look at this. This is so cool. Boom. Chopped onion just like that. Ready? Boom. So cool. This is all of our diced ingredients that will actually go in the pot with the beans. Like, so this is what we're going to fry with the seasoning prior to the beans going into the pot, if that makes sense. So we still have the beans just boiling away. I've seen people throw this water away and add new fresh hot water, but I think because I've soaked them last night and rinsed them a few times, I think they're pretty good. So I won't be dumping this water. I'm just going to let this boil until this water basically disappears. and the beans are very soft to the touch and taste. So now I'm just gonna add some bay leaf. I like to do 3 because they're small and you barely taste it, but it does make a difference. And then I also want to chop some onion. Just gonna keep letting that do its thing. So we're just gonna pulse this and put it on mix. I wouldn't add any water, especially if you use the tin tomatoes, but even if you use the 3 real whole tomatoes, I would just try to not add more water to the blender if you can. And if you do, just add as little as possible. Okay, so we're going to need a second pot in which we're going to fry our vegetables here. So some people like to use palm oil for Nigerian beans, others use vegetable oil, it depends on your preference. I like to do just a little bit of palm oil, which I have here, and a little bit of vegetable oil, and this is actually in an old tin, but it's some oil that plantain was fried in, so I figured we're going to add some plantain anyway, so why not reuse the oil. And yeah, there you see the fish still sort of steaming. I'll add that in once the vegetables and oil and peppers that we blended are all in the pan, and then we add it so it can cook and sort of stew in here before we add the beans lastly. Here we are going in with the palm oil. I just like to, not too much honestly, like I like for the flavor to be very subtle. Like as you can see, I didn't really let it like fall in, just like a few drops. And then here we have some oil that I'm gonna like be pretty generous with. And this is what my pan looks like now. It smells so good, guys. So now we want to add all of our spices. So thyme, yes, my thyme is done. Some curry. What is Nigerian food without Dupro's curry? Just a little bit of paprika, just a really little bit. You're gonna add your crayfish. I love crayfish. Pretty generous tablespoon of that. We might add more later. We're gonna add our green Maggi, crayfish Maggi, and our regular Knorr seasoning cube. You don't have to crush them with your fingers like this, but it's just a habit for me. It just feel like it disperses better. And we're gonna give this a good stir. It smells so good. And you just want this to stir fry for a bit. Just gonna take your blender. And stir. And you just want to let this cook down a bit. Now that I've cleaned my fish to the best of my ability, I'm going to drop this in so that it can stew with the peppers that we've just put into the oil. I'm just giving the dried fish a mix. It's going to be so good. I can already tell, guys. And I think I like that I use the tin tomato, because when I use 3 tomatoes, it's obviously less, and it tastes very fried. You can often feel heavy after eating this dish, but I think the more tomatoes that I use is already making a difference. And you can see this is what I've cleaned from the fish that we soaked before, just the spine or bones and the skin. At this time, I'm just gonna add some sea salt here, some atagigo, the chili I was telling you guys about, and also some more crayfish, since I love crayfish. So the stew has been fried. It's starting to look and sound how it's supposed to. You want to see the oil sort of sit up on top of the tomato sauce. You'll know how it looks. I'll try to give you guys a glimpse. And the beans are definitely ready. They've been boiling for quite some time, over 30 minutes now. And I'm going to drain them and then add them into our stewed pot here. As you can see, we have the beans that I'm just going to pour right into our pot here. Give the beans a quick taste now, just to see if it needs anything and if it definitely needs this ripe plantain, because this plantain is really ripe, but I could either add it into the pot and let it steam and get cooked in the pot, or I could just fry it and have it on the side. So after tasting it, I'm definitely going to add this. I think it could definitely use it. And of course I'm going to give it a mix. And I may or may not add water just to make it a bit more mushy. Help it out a bit. So while we let the beans continue to cook, I'm just going to fry up some plantain for the side. I love sweet, crispy plantain next to Nigerian beans. I just think it's the best. Even though the plantain is already in the dish, I love it on the side as well. I made this dish so many times while in Cape Town, put it all over my Insta story. But yeah, shout outs to Sisi Yemmie for helping me with the recipe. I essentially went off of her recipe, so I'll leave her details down below if you want exact measurements and just more information. But yeah, we're almost done, and I'm just taking out the plantains from the fryer. And this concludes my video. I really did enjoy it. The only tips I would give is to really let the dried fish soak so that it needs less time in the actual pot. But I really did enjoy it. It was so tasty. I know this video was really thorough and kind of detailed, but I hope it helps you guys out. Yeah, if you have any comments, please leave them down below, and I appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking it through. Have a blessed day. Very good.